Hey guys, it's the AK Geek here. Today we're going to do a brief overview of the CZ-82. CZ-82 was developed in Czechoslovakia in the early 1980s. This was the response to the Soviet Union's requirement that all Warsaw Pact nations be chambered in a common caliber as the Soviet Union. So, for example, at the time when this pistol was adopted, the MAKAROV PM was in service in the Soviet Union. That was chambered in 9x18mm. So as a result, the Czechs needed to adopt a pistol that was chambered in that caliber. You'll see other nations using a very similar approach to this, as the Hungarians adopted basically a clone of the Walther PPK, but chambered in 9x18. And you'd also see the Polish adopting, I believe it was the P64 in the 1960s. One of the unique features, really one of the unique traits of the Czech people, is that for obvious reasons they hated the Soviet Union and they hated communism. And as a result of that, they are a very proud nation when it comes to firearms design, rightly so. They make fantastic firearms. And throughout the Cold War, they did not use or adopt any Russian small arm, as far as my knowledge. They pretty much built all their own firearms. So instead of adopting the AK, they had the VZ-58. Instead of the Makarov, they had the CZ-82. And instead of the Tokarev TT-33, they had the VZ-52. So what are some of the things that make this stand out from the Makarov? Well, while it does use the same direct blowback system as the Makarov, the guts are a little bit different, especially when you start getting back here into the fire control group area. But it does have some common features with the Mac, which we will discuss. But let's get some of the differences out of the way. The Makarov PM has a safety/decocker up here on the slide, which the manual of arms for Makarov is you chamber a round and then decock the pistol. Whereas on the CZ-82, it takes a more traditional approach, similar to a 1911 or a Browning high power, in that once you load the firearm, put around in the chamber, you would then, with the hammer back, you would then cock and lock the pistol with the round in the chamber. So you'd be carrying it around cocked and locked, similar to a 1911. So when you draw it from the holster and you're ready to fire, you would have to make sure you disengage that safety before you fire the first round. Now you can carry this double action. It is a double single action pistol. As you see, you can cock the hammer back just by pulling the trigger. But I do not typically recommend, especially if you're going to carry this pistol, I do not recommend you do that, simply because of the fact that you do run the very high risk of a negligent discharge if you're trying to manually lower that hammer. Something to keep in mind. The other thing that differentiates the CZ-82 from the Makarov is the magazine release. So, unlike the Makarov that has a heel style release, CZ-82 has a more Western thumb release. Interestingly enough, the CZ-82, since it is one of the first military pistols to be completely ambidextrous, it has a magazine release on both sides, and the safety being on both sides, as you can see there. Unlike the Makarov, it fires from a 12-round detachable magazine. So you have 12 plus 1 as compared to the Makarov 8 plus 1, so you get a little bit you get some more firepower on tap, which is certainly nice, nothing to sneeze at. One thing I most certainly like about the CZ-82 as compared to the Makarov is the sights. For a pistol that came out in the early 80s in a comm-block country, this is pretty impressive for the fact that they have 3-dot sights back then. If I dated this pistol correctly, this pistol was developed in the late 80s, early 90s, if I remember correctly. Yes, made in 1990, actually. As marked right there. As far as the similarities to the Makarov go, there are a few, but it is a Walther style action. It is direct blowback. Since we got it here, I'll break it down here on camera. So to disassemble the CZ-82, it's very similar to the Makarov. Make sure that the firearm is unloaded, which it is. So to field strip the CZ-82, first you're going to pull back on the trigger guard until you hear that click. Then pull the slide back, pull it forward, and there you go. The pistol is field stripped. As you can see, the barrel is fixed to the frame as part of its blowback design. You can see the internals there. It does have, I don't know if this is going to be able to show up on camera, I highly doubt it. It does have polygonal rifling. It was one of the first military sidearms to incorporate that. See the slide here. Spring that fits right over the barrel. That's inherent to its blowback nature. Essentially, what it means to be a blowback pistol is there's no actual locking mechanism for this. The only thing that is keeping the firearm safe during discharge when a bullet is going down the barrel is the weight of the slide and the spring. So to reassemble the CZ-82, just do it in reverse. Just take your spring, put it over the barrel. A little bit tricky doing this on camera, but then just going to see if we can get a better angle for you here. So you're going to insert it like that, pull back, and then you're back in business. CZ-82 has served the Czechs for a number of years. It is, as far as my understanding, it's still in service in some police units over there in the Czech Republic. Over here in the United States, it has taken on a second persona of being a fairly popular, surprisingly, concealed carry piece for most people. I know it is for me. It's not my primary concealed carry. That's reserved for my CZ-P07, but this is a secondary carry pistol for me. When I first got this pistol, it shipped with one surplus magazine. It also came with a, this looks like a military holster, but to be honest with you, I'm almost 90% certain this is like an old police holster. If any of you guys over in the Czech Republic happen to see this, please let me know what kind of holster this is. I'm really, really curious. This is kind of led, at least in my mind, because this looks like a commercial holster, not a military one. So I'm starting to think that this was a police pistol over in the Czech Republic. One thing to keep note, I don't remember exactly where I purchased this second magazine. I believe from CDNN Sports. I'm pretty sure that's where I got this from. But this is a CZ-82/83 magazine. From my understanding, the older magazines for the CZ-82 and 83, they were distinct. One would not work in the other. For those who don't know, the CZ-83 is basically this gun, but chambered in .380. But from my understanding, these brand new commercial magazines, they work in both, which is nice. I've had plenty of rounds through both of this and the surplus magazine, and I've had no failures out of this. This is a good magazine and a faithful clone of the original mil-spec magazine. So, overall, CZ-82 is a very reliable, fairly lightweight for its size, compact, reliable service pistol, and it can fit into a variety of roles even still today. So, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns about the CZ-82, leave them down in the comments below. And the next video we'll be talking about little compact handguns. We'll be reviewing its older brother, the MAKAROV PM. I'll see you guys then.